Farm Small, Farm Smart Daily is part of the Modern Grower Podcast Network. Check out some of our other shows like Carrot Cash Flow, the Growing Microgreens Podcast, and Farm Small, Farm Smart. Learn more about the shows using the link below.
From a standpoint of just owning a business, how do you maintain a positive attitude and not walk off the proverbial edge?
I just think we're not going to be like this forever. We rode through to get through that one. It's really positive. I think you've got to lead by example with your team, and we're just transforming. We're looking at obviously what we're doing at the moment isn't the right fit. It might be again in the future, but we're just got to change. So yeah, so we're going into we're at the shortest day which is really the start of our winter. In a normal year, we would never entertain taking on a new supermarket going into winter, but we are this year, and we know next winter we're going to be strong. Next summer and again next winter we're going to be stronger again. And we're really excited about the new supermarket. Wholesaling, we're just starting that conversation. We might start with micros during winter, but we're probably going to wait till spring. I think never know what's coming tomorrow. We're not giving up. It would be easy just to leave the farm, go on a world tour doing education and say, let's rethink this at some other point. But no, we're determined to make it work. We know it's not going to always be like this. And the farming is a classic saying, it's a lifestyle. It's something I totally love. Being a food producer is for me, one of the most rewarding things. We're just going to make it work.
Is part of this being just financially prudent in times when it's good so you can last through this time?
Yeah, 100%. If we were going into this economic downturn with financial security, be a whole different thing. We've launched another stacked enterprise at the end of last year. It was a 2-year build, but we've built a beautiful tiny home and we've got that on Airbnb. That's been really nice. So it's not a big income, but especially during the warmer months, we've had income coming through the tiny home. And so there's about $80,000 spend over 2 years, and the greenhouse was $110,000 spend. So it's the perfect storm. We just put $200K into the business in 2 years, and we did it without a bank loan, not knowing we're going into a double recession. Tanya, my wife's finished teaching last year. She's full-time on the business too. So it is what it is. If we could have planned it all, we would have done it way different.
Yeah. And it's at this point, it's ride it out and make decisions that keep you afloat now. Explore all options. I'm sure like everything's on the table, right? That's why wholesalers came about, and it's, let's look at that. Fortunately, you have your greenhouses now, which you didn't have in the past. That opened up a lot of options crop wise, so you can adapt to that. But yeah, going back to what I was saying a bit ago of just a lot of these stories are super positive. And I think for the most part, since I've been podcasting in the US, we've been in a expansion. Like there hasn't been a recession. There was the whole COVID thing, but for food, that actually, I think, was steroids to the food scene for anybody growing local food. So the economy might have stepped back, but if you were growing local food, like everybody was suddenly your buddy. And eventually the US is going to go into a recession at some point for some amount of time. And that is going to mean less people are potentially buying local food. People are trying to save on food, so maybe they're not buying from farmers markets and things like that. And you always need to keep, I think, one eye on that is what if it turns tomorrow? That's not to say I'm, a gloom and doomer or anything, but if you always act like things are going to be amazing, then you're going to be totally screwed when things aren't. Because you haven't prepared, you haven't thought of it, or you get too overextended in one direction. And that's I was in finance and I saw this a lot in 2008 in the crash it was boom in a good way. people get overextended, they borrow money, they're on margin, the market corrects the other way, and suddenly people are jumping out of the proverbial window because life is now dramatically different and a lot of money goes by fast. So for the American farmers, I think this is a good lesson of it might not always be good. That doesn't mean it's terrible, but there's going to likely be times, seasons, years where they are not as good as they are for you right now. And adapt to that.
I think that humans are a funny bunch. We seek innovation after a crisis. So, good things are going to come from this recession. We could be in a very different scenario right now if we had have taken a big bank loan to do the greenhouse, plus interest on it. We paid for the greenhouse up front. We don't have any debt. Tanya and I don't have credit cards. Our mortgage is pretty insignificant. We've got a financial coach, and we've been putting a lump deposit on the farm mortgage every year, and knowing that actually cut our mortgage term in half, which was going to make us mortgage free with 51, mortgage free by 55, 56 years old instead of 70. And we're really focused on getting rid of the mortgage. But this year we're just making the mortgage payments. Things are tight. We've got to choose the extra 10, 15 grand we're putting on the mortgage. We spent that this year on getting ready for future seasons with the expansion of irrigation to the new field, the new posts, and to expand the greenhouse. We're not in a scenario where we've leveraged bank finances, and now we're in a scenario of interest rates going up, and how do we even just make those repayments for an infrastructure that we don't even have sales from? That could be a reality, and it's not. So we're doing compared to last winter, some nice volumes of salad from indoors. And we're really excited to see, especially as the day length increases, and we're set up for a much stronger spring than last year. We're not having to do all that development work. We're just focusing on production. We're excited to see how many more people we can feed as things change.
Today's episode is brought to you by Modern Grower, a proud retailer of the Sumi Soaker system. The Sumi Soaker system is an irrigation game changer. It offers multiple advantages for market gardeners. Even gentle watering without dry spots common with wobblers. The system is lightweight and portable, so you can use it with quick rotation crops. It's low maintenance with no parts to break or clog. It's versatile. You can use it for direct seeding, transplants, and cover crops. And it's very cost effective compared to overhead options. And maybe one of its best and most unique features is it can put down water in a rectangular pattern, which is very different than rotating sprinklers that leave circular patterns, often with dry corners and overwatered centers. If you want to learn more about the Sumi Soaker system, use the link below or visit us at shop.moderngrower.co.